So video one maybe of the daily drive. Hopefully today isn't too problematic. We'll see what kind of craziness ensues in front of me today. We'll watch for people and their following distances, their use of blinkers or lack thereof. I wish I had a 360 view of cameras on my left and right side and rear side so we could see people's usage of cell phones while they drive, and we have all probably done the cell phone usage from time to time. Some of us are better, and we try to keep our cell phone usage to a minimum at stoplights and stuff. If I'm going to use my phone for texting or whatever, I'll try to sneak it in on a red light. Typically, I don't get too many calls or texts, so it's not a big deal. It's usually just the wife. But y'all need to be safe out there with using your cell phones. Put them away. I like to keep mine aside, except for now I'm using my phone for video purposes. I've got a mount that is just gonna have to work for now. It's not the greatest. But this is video one, and we'll see how those go. Speaking of which, try to scoot this up a little bit. So I got my right blinker on. I'm making a right-hand turn here. It's 2 lanes. Everyone knows anyone in this lane is going to turn right. Not a big deal if you didn't have it on. Car in front of me didn't. Car behind me did have their blinker on. Car in front of me turned the left blinker on for this one. Again, this one's not a big deal. Typically when you're driving down a roadway, highway, and even in residential areas, and you're making turns, you want to let people know where you're going. People following behind you, if there's traffic waiting to turn onto the highway that you're turning off of, if they have a chance to go, they want to know where you're going, and maybe they don't have to wait for the traffic that's coming. Anyway, blinkers just let people know where you're going, and it's there for a purpose. Very useful. I mean, a lot of these things are no-brainers. We all know them, which is why I feel the need to make these videos and kind of show what's happening when people don't use them. I'm trying to merge here, got my left blinker on. Try to get in up here where there's a hole before traffic stops. Get one more spot. There we go. Didn't cut anyone off. Everyone's happy. I'm happy. I've passed quite a number of cars. So one tip I'll mention as far as maybe safe driving is concerned, I drive a 4-door sedan, smaller sedan, and I sit fairly low compared to the other vans and SUVs and even crossovers like the car on the right there. small Highlander, mid-size, Highlander in front of me. Can't see around them so easily, or full-size pickup trucks. Not to mention these larger Sprinter vans and things. You can't see around them so well. And in traffic, really anywhere on the freeway or on the streets, I like to be able to see what's going on in front of me. It's just safer to know what's ahead. And in my wife's vehicle, we drive. We have a Honda Pilot, and I'm able to sit a little higher and be able to see at least through the rear windshield or the front windshield. Kind of see through the vehicle in front of me if I need to see what's going on in traffic. And so I don't like to stay behind a vehicle like this for too long if my vision is impeded in any way. Like, for example, the camera right now is pretty much at about my eye level. So I assume you're able to see what I'm seeing from this perspective. Thankfully, that vehicle got over, and I don't have anybody in front of me, and I can see a little better. So we'll see how the commute goes. You can kind of get a glimpse of how that looks. Maybe you've never thought about it. Maybe it's a problem that you identify when you're driving. But yeah, I just don't care to be behind a vehicle that's blocking. I can't see, because who knows, sometimes you might be stuck behind someone who's got a huge following distance and there's nobody in front of them, and then you're just going slow because they're going slow. But you didn't know any better because you can't see around them. Typically I would know better because traffic around that vehicle is moving, and I'd probably be moving into the lane that's moving faster. I think a lot of us do that. We approach a light and we try to gauge the vehicles that are lined up. I usually try to take the one with the smaller line and get in that lane. No sense in waiting in the line that's super long if you can get past a few cars, or if you come up to a light, maybe there's one car in each lane, and maybe there's a Toyota Prius in one lane and a Mustang in the other lane, and I don't know, which one are you gonna pick? It's always a 50-50 chance, sort of, but you never know which one's gonna go faster. Sometimes you pick them wrong, and then you're stuck behind someone slow. It's just a little game I play. I know I've heard other people do the same thing. Following distances are a little bit tricky for me too. I try to stay aware and conscious of what's going on in front of me, and because I don't leave a huge following distance, leave about 2 seconds typically on these city streets. If I leave too far of a gap, a big following distance, people typically have to cut in front of you and fill in that space and try to get around in traffic, and I don't like to leave that big old gap. People take advantage of it. I know I would, and other people do. But you don't want to follow too close. No one wants anyone tailgating on there behind, and you just got to be smart about it. Again, if you can't see in front of you, you can't tell what the car in front of you is doing and how close they are to the vehicle in front of them. Because if they're following too close, that's going to mess up your stopping time if they have to slam on their brakes for some reason. So, good following distance is always best, but you got to know your surroundings too, the circumstance. If you're on a city street, or if you're on a faster moving highway or freeway, gotta be cautious. So be sure to share some of your pet peeves. What do people do that you just can't stand when they're driving? Are there any things you've noticed that I've done that you can't stand that I do, besides critique people who don't know how to drive? We all know they're out there. Another thing too, like this, there's not too many motorcycle riders on the streets on my commute home that I've seen. Usually, you get to know kind of the vehicles that you see on your commute, either to work or on the way home from work. If there's motorcycle riders who commute the same way you do on a daily basis, you begin to identify them and know that they're there around the same time that you're commuting. On my way home, I don't know too many, but I know on the way to work on the freeway, there's always a couple that I see. But my point in bringing that up about motorcycle riders is leaving room for them to split lanes. Obviously in California, it's legal, they can do that. And having family members that ride, I like to watch out for them, bring awareness about them to people, and leave room for them. So on a highway like this, or on this road, and I've got a smaller vehicle, but if you're driving a full-size truck or a larger vehicle, it's always nice to stay, since this is the left lane and this 2-lane roadway. I'll stay towards the left side, leaving a little bit of room over there on the right side in case someone is coming up. You always want to check your mirrors. I drive a lot of my time. I don't know what the percentage would be, but I'm probably easily 50-50. Driving out of my side mirrors, my rear view mirror, looking around, seeing. As I come to red lights, I like to kind of stay to the left, because you never know if there's motorcycles that are coming up back there that are wanting to split the lane to get up to the front. Typically, motorcycles that are going to be doing that are going to take off quick and stay ahead of the traffic and not be in the way. They're splitting the lane for a reason, trying to get to the front. They're usually good about getting out of the way. So I'm going to be making a right up here. I've left myself quite a bit of time just get into this lane, establish myself. I wasn't hanging out in that left lane too long, trying to make a lane change at the last minute, cut anybody off. You know where you're going. Position yourself in your lanes where you want to be. I mean, some of these things, again, are no-brainers. These are probably things that most of us do, but I think there's people who, forget. Again, they're messing with their phones. Maybe talking on the phone. Rocking out some music and just forgetting, I don't know. But be intentional, know where you're going. Set yourself up so you're not stuck behind a big truck like these guys up here on the right.